All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the big fight that's coming up and Frank Martin letting it be known that a tactic that Gervonta Davis is secretly trying to utilize against him will not work. Also, Gervonta clarifies some things that took place in sparring between the two, and to boot, Gervonta Davis fight for Frank Martin has included a lot of distractions. And Frank Martin talks about one of the major ones, and that is what was going on with Errol Spence Jr. and Derrick James. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 135-pound division where there is a big-time fight taking place, and I am excited about it. Can't wait for this weekend's fights. We have a stacked fight card, at least 3 fights in a row that I am extremely anxious to see. The first of the 3 includes Gary Antoine Russell versus Alberto Puello, the Dominican, former 140-pound WBA champion. The fight after that is going to be David Benavidez versus Wojciech, a former WBC 175-pound champion. And then, of course, the main event, the fight between Gervonta Davis, who's the WBA 135-pound champion, and Frank Martin, who is the number 3 contender for the WBC. There's been a lot of questions answered in interviews that came up this week. And one of the things that Frank Martin said was directly in response to a strategy that it is believed that Gervonta Davis is going to try to employ against him, and that is to wreck him to the body. Before I get into the details, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. It really makes a huge difference to the channel. And shout out to my guy, Daryl McKinney. Definitely feeling for what's going on, man. I hope you guys, you're on our prayers. Hope you get through that circumstance that you're going through. I'm sure it has to be rough. But you know, we're here for you, man. Text me when you need to text me. Just wanted to give you that message pretty much in every video until you get that done, or at least once a day, let you know that we're thinking about you. But let's move on with this. Gervonta Davis said in an interview on, I believe it was $1 million worth of game, about Frank Martin, that he was looking and pointing at Frank Martin's body and said, look, man, we know you don't like it to the body. Know you don't like it to the body. Seen you get crumpled to the body. And that was something that happened slightly in the last fight that he had against Artrum, whose last name I'm not going to try to pronounce. The fight where the very last fight that Frank Martin had, which he won. He won the fight, but there was a shot that landed on Frank Martin by Artrum that seemed to really kind of hurt him to the body. There was an interview that was done that I just saw yesterday. It was done on Fight Hype. Shout out to Fight Hype. It always does great work. They asked Frank Martin about his abdomen, and he said, so man, you got a 6-pack, you got an 8-pack. He's like, man, I got a 12-pack. I'm in shape. I'm got to get everything ready so I can take care of these body shots. Cats got to come at me with these body shots. And then he said, man, by the way, that's one of the stupidest things that you said. And he points to the camera like he's talking to Gervonta. So that's one of the stupidest things that you've said. Nobody likes body shots. All those body shots hurt. So basically saying, what's the difference between me not liking a body shot and anybody else not liking a body shot? Well, my take on that is, yeah, nobody likes a body shot, but some people like them less than others. There are some people that just notoriously do not like body shots. Two people that react a little bit funny, that are known to act funny about body shots, are Keith Thurman and Alexander Usyk. Keith Thurman most definitely reacts more harshly to body shots than, say, a Terrence Crawford does. Because I've seen Terrence Crawford get hit flush with body shots, and his reaction is not necessarily the same or anywhere near as what you see from Keith Thurman when Keith Thurman gets hurt by one. And there is a difference between, if not pain tolerance, at least the mental fortitude to go through it and not show it. However, you better believe Gervonta Davis is gonna target that body, but Frank Martin is letting him know, hey man, that is not gonna work. And that's not gonna work with him. I was blessed to have a guy come by the channel yesterday, Greg Hackett, who's and if you're not familiar with Greg Hackett, definitely look up Greg Hackett on YouTube and look for channels with Greg Hackett, GregHackett, and look up, his YouTube channel, subscribe to his YouTube channel. We talked about the fight coming up and talked about the body shots. And the fact that, and this was my thought on the process, was that, look, I would suspect that the later that you start fighting in life, the less likely that you are to be able to really absorb body shots, because you're not prepared for that basically since you're 8 years old or 9 years old. And that could be the situation where that you have with Frank Martin. I do think that that's probably something that you have to kind of get used to over long periods of time. Frank, but the big problem with it is if you're getting hit with it, there's some kind of like defensive issue where you shouldn't be getting hit that flushly with those body shots, especially if Tank is going to try to cripple you with a liver shot. But at the end of the day, man, I'm really looking forward to that fight. We'll see what happens. Also, Gervonta Davis also, Frank Martin also talked about and was asked about how he's reacting to the drama going on between Errol Spence Jr. and Derrick James. Errol is Frank Martin's promoter, and Derrick James is his trainer. And it was wondering, like, how are you overcoming all of these distractions? And Frank Martin pretty much just said, look, that's what it is with all of these fights. Big fights is like there's always something that is going to, try to keep you from keeping your eye on the prize. And he, of course, said what he's supposed to say, which is that's not going to distract him. And it keeps his eyes on the prize. He's going to keep working. And I pretty much would believe that, because I've been around Derrick James enough to know that he's a very focused individual. Frank Martin is not a young kid. In a relative sense he is, but he's a 28-year-old man, and he's really gone far in his career very fast. And he would not have done that and be able to make that progress unless he was a very focused individual. I also suspect that he's seen, things that were related to Errol Spence Jr. maybe taking his eye off the ball, and that may help him stay focused. But whatever the case is, man, body shots may come into play. Distraction is not going to be is not going to be the problem between Errol and Derrick. The distraction very well may be that gigantic crowd that Frank Martin is going to be fighting in front of for the first time. Because, I saw Frank Martin's fight maybe like 3 fights ago in Alamo Dome, and you better believe that Alamo Dome fight, when he was fighting on the undercard, I do believe it was on the undercard of Mark Magsayo versus Ray Vargas in San Antonio. That's not going to be anything like the atmosphere that he's going to be seeing in Vegas. And his last couple fights were in the Cosmopolitan in Vegas. Not going to be nearly the same atmosphere. So if anything can shake him, it's going to be when he gets into that audience and hears all that roar and all of that stuff is going on when he's fighting. That's something Gervonta is very used to, and he may have a hard time dealing with. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.